Hello everybody, it's Josh. I wanted to talk today about the gift of suffering. I know that sounds ridiculous because there's so much suffering and so much of it is devastating. And we live in a soulless, secular society. So for a few decades, it seemed like that society was content on being secular. Then when the big tragedies happen, our latest big one that was worldwide was COVID. People were scared to death. And they were scared enough to start awakening. Now, that's the thing. They were awakening because they got the calling. Because you don't awaken unless you receive the calling. But as Christ said, many are called and few are chosen. So what did most people do, including myself when I was saved for a little bit? I was guided through several different faiths and religions and spiritualities and philosophies. They ran to the most secular form of spirituality they could find. Because they wanted God, for sure, or they wanted something higher than themselves. They wanted to believe in something higher than themselves. But they despised most faiths, most religions, especially in the U.S., Christianity. They absolutely despised it. Because we've spent decades saying how awful Christians are. We go back to even the Crusades and the Inquisitions, which were completely different than what we were taught. The Crusades especially, there were hundreds of years of Muslims oppressing, enslaving, killing Christians, running them out of all their lands. And Christians finally fought back. And yeah, things did go too far every now and then, for sure. They absolutely did. But we ran to the most secular spiritualities. And those secular spiritualities are just as bad as not having any spirituality at all. But that's just for some. For some, it's a stepping stone to understanding. I'll try to keep it like this. I'm sorry about the glare. You can see my beard glowing now. You can see the gray in it really good. But I'm telling you, this is what we've been taught to do, because we've been taught to think that the cross is foolishness. And the Apostle Paul wrote in the Bible that the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing. To those who are being saved, it is the power of God. And that absolutely was true for me. I absolutely did not want to come to Christianity, because I was brainwashed just like the rest of you. I was brainwashed just like the majority of the world. I loved Christ. Didn't know much about him except for I'd felt him. I'd felt his presence. I knew the basics of the Bible story. I knew just enough. But I had a relationship with him when I was a child, a pure relationship. And that pure relationship was just amazing. It carried me through a lot of my childhood years. It eased my fears. It eased my pain. You know, when I was a child, I didn't understand so many things, and I was a shy kid, but Christ helped me break through all that. Just by being there for me. But of course, as I got older, I was like, well, that's just the foolishness of a child. Just my little imaginary friend, right? It must have all been a delusion. Even the times I thought I felt God's presence, and it was so powerful that I couldn't deny it, but yet I still denied it. Because I had the foolishness of the one who is perishing. But COVID really woke us up to this. Woke us up to how the government ain't going to be there taking care of us. In fact, the government's going to do everything they can to enslave us. To put all the small businesses out of business. To make us reliant on them. And we were scared. We thought, what if this is like some of the dystopian novels or movies or shows we've seen, where a majority of the people are going to die. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be basically just like the end times. Let's see how I can do this with this glare here. But that was a deeper existential suffering. It kind of is similar to what we go through when we are going through a midlife crisis. When we are faced with our own mortality. We might see the older generation dying around us, getting sick. And we're finally like, that's where we're headed. And we sometimes break. I know plenty of people who have gone out and bought new cars and just spend all their money up because it's going to be gone one day. It's going to be gone. We're going to be dead. We might as well enjoy it now, right? Thinking that is joy in life. I get it. You hearken back to a simpler time when you're maybe a teenager. I know when I was a teenager, it was all about partying and all about fun. But then when you get older, it's all gone. You can sneak out and have fun every now and then, but now it's about responsibility. It's about taking care of yourself and your family. People rely on you, but you're not ready for that. You're still just a kid and you just want to have fun. And COVID thrust us into a midlife crisis. And we all had to answer those burning questions inside of us of what the hell is going on, what we believe. We better find a faith. Oh, this faith looks good. New Age spirituality, Buddhism, whatever. That looks good because, that faith we can shape to our own lives. That's what it's about. That's what New Age spirituality is. It's so enticing. Because it is not a religion where you worship God. It is a religion where you are God. And in the Bible, it doesn't take long for God to show us that that is the worst sin of all. You have Adam and Eve eating of the forbidden fruit. The knowledge of the forbidden fruit gave them the understanding of God. And They went from free, running around the joyous wilderness of Eden, so happy, not ashamed of anything, not feeling guilty, not feeling fearful. And they went from that to, oh man, we better cover up. Better cover up our nakedness. We better hide in shame. We better feel guilty about so many things. We see it again not too long after in the Tower of Babel. Babylon, they built a tower that stretched to the heavens. And God saw this, and God was like, people, men, they are capable of more than they understand, and they will start to get into things that just devour them. Maybe that's eugenics or cloning, whatever. It is a metaphorical story that we play God, and that is not good. That will lead us only to destruction. And so we get into these spiritualities and we wonder, why are we still suffering so much? I don't understand it. But at least I have some kind of spirituality, so I'll just create a heaven that I'm going to. Because I'm God after all, so I can create heaven. I'll make myself immortal and I'll go to heaven. No matter how many sins or what I've done in life, I'm worthy of heaven. It's a sad, sad place that the devil leads us to. And so many of these people who are into New Age spirituality and things like that, and even things like Buddhism and stuff like that, it's basically an agnostic faith, an agnostic religion. Man, you understand things about yourself for sure, and there are the depths of your soul that have hidden wisdom and that hidden meaning, and you'll think, I've finally found it, I'm finally enlightened. And then the first real test, the first real trial or tribulation, you crumble, you are devoured. It's why I'm telling you, I used to say, yeah, I used to go along with it, just like Pope Francis said, this disgusting comment by him, that all religions are pathways to God. And to believe this, we must believe that Christ was a madman and a liar. Because he told us directly the only way to heaven is if first the Father who sent him draws them to him, and then he connects you with the Father. So either you think Christ is a liar, or you just don't care because you think those stupid Christians, those anti-intellectual Christians. Let me tell you, I have been through 50,000 different levels of hell in my life. I've been through many of them since I've been saved. And I can tell you the difference between going through hell as someone who has not been born again and somebody who, after you've been born again. Before I was born again, every time in hell, I would weep. I would be sick with grief and guilt and shame and fear and anxiety. And after God saved me, after Christ saved me, after the Holy Spirit was within me, I haven't suffered once. Despite constant physical pain, and it's almost constant, and it's almost always something that could bring a normal person to their knees. And I stand here before you as someone who hasn't suffered in almost 2 years. And that is just the physical part. 3 deaths in my family since I've been saved. I can tell you the difference between grief before and after. Before I was saved, I feared death. I feared life. After I was saved, I fear none of it. Sure, there's a little worry every now and then it creeps up. And you throw yourself at the feet of Christ, and that worry vanishes. And I can tell you, I never believed that God would talk to me. That was even a possibility, right? I talk to God and He talks back to me all the time. All the time. And it's not like I'm saying, oh, hey, God, and He's like, oh, hey, Josh. No. He gives me signs. He gives me thoughts and wisdom that I never would have had before. He gives me understanding of things I never learned. He gives me these things because He is the author of life. He is everything. And you can go through and you can worship. We all worship the same God because there is only one God. You can worship Him in a different form, I guess. Muslims, they don't understand. Because the Jews, they don't understand. Hindus, I don't even know what they got going on there, but they definitely don't understand. Not saying they're bad people, no. What I'm saying is the one true God knew that we could not understand Him, that we could not have a relationship with Him. So He came to this earth. And He walked this earth, and He showed us what a relationship with the God of the universe really is. It is glorious. And I see those suffering. I want so badly to be able to bring them to where I'm at. But it's a process. But see, your suffering, it is a conduit to Him. It makes us desperate for Him. Christ did not just come as just a dude. He came to the poor and the weak and the oppressed, the ones who suffered the most. And He was a suffering servant God. He did not come to rule over us with an iron fist. He came to be among us, to give us comfort, to give us love. And that's what you have to understand. That unless you give yourself to Him, the more you open yourself up to Him, the less you will suffer. The more you open yourself up to Him, the more you will understand. The more fulfilled your empty lives will be. And I'm not saying to go run to some church, because a lot of the churches, they just make it worse. Because they are people who have not been born again leading those churches, and they will give you this bad taste in your mouth. Start with the Gospel of John. Read the Gospel of John. Read all the Gospels if you can. But start with that one. Go and Find a relationship with him. Find your own unique relationship. Your relationship isn't going to be like mine or anybody else's. Your relationship is your own with the God of the universe. So please, I've talked about this a lot, but go out into the woods where nobody's going to bother you. Turn your phone off if you can. Or at least put it on silent. Do whatever you can to get solitude. Go in a room and shut the door behind you if you have to. Mosquitoes landing on my head. And then just talk to him. Tell him your problems. Tell him your worries. Tell him your fears. Tell him your dreams. Don't ask him for money or fame or material things. Just ask him, I would love it if you would just show me. Please. I want to believe, but it's hard. So just show me. He will do this for you if you are genuine about wanting to believe. And all of the suffering, no matter how bad it is, the more you give your life to him, the less of it you will feel. You'll feel the pain. You can't avoid pain. You find ways to manage it, a little bit here and there, but he takes away the spiritual pain. And that is the stuff that really hurts. Because once you lose hope, you lose everything. So hold on. I know you don't have a choice to be born again or not. But you do have a choice to start the process of giving your life to him. And the understanding will come. I hear my deer out there. They always come to see me when I'm doing my videos. The deer, the hawks, the owls. Because God talks to us through nature. That's why I say go into nature. Surround yourself with God's pure creation. Find a beautiful place if you can, or just find a place in the trees. And then let yourself observe the things around you. And he will talk to you through the wind, through the trees, through the animals. The book of Job says, look to nature and nature will teach us. Nature will guide us. I feel him coming. And I always feel him when I reach out to him. Or when I do his work, because I am his humble servant, and there is no greater honor than being a slave to God. As bad as that sounds to modern connotation, I understand. But I am a slave to God, because I used to be a slave to my sins and my suffering. And you got to serve somebody. You might as well serve the one who loves you, who treats you with respect and compassion, who thinks more highly of you than you do of yourself. He's not some evil slave master. He is a loving Father. He is the greatest you will ever encounter. And you can't compare the people of this earth, anyone to him. Anyone to Christ, anyone to the Father, anyone to the Holy Spirit. You can't compare man to him. Because we are just corrupted shades of him. Go to him and he will show you the truth. Because just as Christ said, he is the way and the truth and the light. No one will get to the Father except through him. All right, everybody, I love you all so much. God bless.